So I'm going to introduce our final speaker for tonight. And this is Pui-Yu Ling, but she's also known as Fish. So she'd prefer to be called Fish.
Or whatever.
Or whatever, okay. So she works in conservation data and science at Defenders of Wildlife, which is a nonprofit here in DC. She has a PhD in geography from the University of Maryland, and that's where I met her many years ago. So
I'm 18, so not
thanks. Yeah, we'll say thanks so much for presenting today.
Well, thank you. First of all, thanks for the spoiler alert that I'm doing a story map. But unlike you, I didn't make the story map myself. This is actually credited to Blue Raster, who helped to make the story map. So this, I'm going to present a project that I did as a postdoctoral researcher at the WWF. That is actually a partner with Trillion Trees. So Trillion Trees consists of Wildlife Conservation Society, WCS, WWF UK, and BirdLife International. And that was the project, and the paper, if you're geeky enough, the paper is accepted and will be published soon at the Environmental Research Letter. So the research topic is actually to map forest regeneration. So I want to take a more positive note here because everybody's kind of sound like, you know, like we're disastrous and like no hope or something like that. So I want to be more hopeful here. So the font size may be a bit small, but it doesn't matter. You don't need to read it. I'm going to say it now. So the spoiler alert, no. The result is that we mapped a total of estimated 55 million hectare, and you can see the uncertainty here, plus or minus 6 million hectare of forest regenerated in between year 2000 and 2015, and where there was no forest in between 1990 to 2000, and to 1999, and the forest remained for 3 years to 2018. So whatever. So whatever we got, like forest regenerated, like about 55 million in between 2000 to 2018. So this is a map. The resolution of the map, if you're geek enough, is actually 250 meters. It's modest. What you are seeing is actually aggregated hexagon because it's very spread and it's not visually cannot be shown in the map. So what happened is, like, you know, the darker the purple, the more dense it is. I cannot see the mouse. Okay. So there are that. Oh, let me zoom in more. Well, I mean, the results, I mean, it's not that interesting. Like, let me talk about the usual suspects, right? China and Brazil, right? What else? They have a huge afforestation program. Surprising results is actually in sub-Saharan Africa. That is actually the Great Green Wall program happening in Africa, where I can go into that later. And actually the other one, surprise, is actually Mongolia, the country of Mongolia. Yeah, you can see a bit, it's actually in here. Like, I didn't know, like, north of Mongolia is forest and not grassland. And I mean, it's interesting. And actually you cannot see here is that the Central America, like Guatemala, Nicaragua, and El Salvador, are actually greening. We do not know the reason. Maybe it's migration. The other thing is, like, Cuba is also greening, but we do not know why. So other than using the satellite image, we also send that map to global forest experts around the world to get for them to, number one, verify the map and let us know the reason, like whether it is a socio-economic reason or whether there is like a policy reason for enabling factor of the regeneration. The reason why we want to know that is that we want to replicate the success in other places in the world, so that we have more. But anyway, the challenge is like how do we map it, and then we have to note that we have more forest loss than forest regenerated. So what is forest regeneration? So it's a spectrum. It ranges from active restoration that includes like tree planting to assisted forest regeneration, which like removing invasive species or something like land preparation, or to just leave the land alone and let it go, and then the forest will come back. So as you can see, well, the number is incorrect. It's 55 million, but it is the billion trees. It's like about 22 billion, and it's sequestered about 6 gigaton of carbon dioxide equivalent. The nature-based solution is a hot conservation topic around. Right now. One of the reasons why we want the natural forest regeneration to occur, because as compared to active seedling planting, is because it's like 76% cheaper. It achieves higher biodiversity. The pioneer forests and stuff like that, and then it sequesters more carbon and has more better ecosystem service provided. So the methodology, if you're geek enough, you can read my paper or we can talk afterwards. I don't think we have time. Yes, I have only 3 minutes left. So let me zoom in to special cases. As I mentioned, Gabon, which is in sub-Saharan Africa, which they participated in the program of the Great Green Wall of sub-Saharan Africa, and they are actually seeing successes. And the other usual suspect is China, northeastern part. They want to mitigate the desertification, the dust storm that hits Beijing all the time. So they are really successful in terms of that. It's a government policy. And the other one is Mexico. Mexico, because of the intensification of agriculture practice, and then the forest was left alone to regenerate. So the other, based on the local survey, that we know that local protection and the agriculture transitions are the main factor contributing to the success of regeneration. So we have 2 case studies here. One is in Brazil, the Atlanta forest in Brazil. They have a huge program in terms of enabling natural forest regeneration occurred. The Atlantic forest is biodiversity, really rich area, and then they collaborate with indigenous people to ensure the success of their work. And then, of course, there are some interesting species occurred in there. And these are the landscape view. I have a remote sensing view, but they didn't put it there. It's kind of like a ground truthing in terms of the regeneration that we are seeing that happens on remote sensing. So the decline in forest, the decline in coffee price, and then the intensification of farming, and also the migration trend to Rio and Sao Paulo actually make the land abandonment and allow forest regeneration to occur. So the other example is Mongolia. Mongolia is very interesting because it's in between the boreal forest and also a temperate forest, and it's very sensitive to climate change because it's in the border of boreal forest. And then what happened, according to the local expert, is that the forest species is changing. It's greening up, but there are also more fire because the precipitation also changes. So they are a really nice group of Mongolians. They actually go out to the field and then to tell me the exact reason why each spot was happening. And they actually have a huge campaign in terms of allowing forest regeneration to occur, AKA forest restoration. Mining and grazing and fire are the three most threatening factors in terms of for the new forest. So they are for the protected area. So they actively manage fire. They reduce the grazing and mining. So that is why they are successful. And you can see this is here is like northern part of Mongolia is very actually greening up, and they actually have a huge effort in terms of conservation. I have 10 seconds left, and yes, if you have anything that you want to know more, the paper will be published soon. And you can ask me any question, and we actually do not get enough feedback from. We actually didn't get enough feedback for the United States, like huge countries like United States and Canada, where we actually see a forest regeneration occur, but we do not know why. Well, just same as like Central America, 3 countries. We hypothesize that it may be because of like migration and led to agriculture abandonment, but we do not know. So here are the people who participated in the paper and and also work on this work. And again, the credit actually gives to Blue Raster, who helped put together this forest map. So I'm not as enabled as like the previous speaker. I'm just presenting. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Fish. Yep, one question.
We did see a lot of forest greening. I was wondering if this study accounts for like market greening phenomena or the geodetic Canada, for example.
Yes, actually, not only Canada. Actually, Greenland is greening as well. It will be living up to its name very soon, Greenland, right? But Canada is huge, and like so is Russia, and we're trying to get the expert over there, like the Canadian expert and the Russian expert, to understand why we are seeing so much greening over there. Is it like a remote sensing era? Because remote sensing data is not that well in the boreal region, or whether it is actually greening due to like the melting of the permafrost or tundra. But you know what? They also tell me, oh, this is a big country. I can't answer you that. So, if you know any Canadian or Russian experts who know the area, feel free to contact the people over there at Trillion Trees, and then they would get. We want to know why as well. That is a hot topic region, but it's not a good thing, because the invasion of the greening of the tundra area that is not supposedly to be forest actually would increase the albedo, and then would actually create a positive feedback to climate change or global warming. So it's not, greening up there is not necessarily a good thing. Thank you for your question. Yes.
Okay, do it later. Yeah, that's fine. Thank you so much, Fish.